Well, good evening everyone and welcome to Invictus Racing League. Tonight, IRL's PS4 F3 League brings you to the Sochi Autodrome here in Russia. I'm your host as always, Ryan, and joined alongside me is the one and only reigning PS4 F2 Drivers Champion, Jakob. How you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, I'm well. Looking forward to what should be round 11, but technically for F3 and F4 on the PS4 side is round 10 since we had the connection issue at Spa. So round 10 on here, but officially round 11. So not quite the penultimate round yet, but regardless, an exciting track and yeah, probably one of the easier tracks to overtake. Two possible overtaking spots coming into turn 2 and turn 13. So yeah, should be getting lots of overtaking and yeah, can be a very unforgiving and tricky circuit as well.
Yeah, it's certainly going to spice things up for the end of the season here in PS4 F3. Next round going to be Vietnam, so another very difficult track to navigate, especially with the drivers and constructors titles still being so tight. Finishing it on a high at a track like Spa will certainly, well, I hope anyway, Jakob, bring it right down to the wire.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's even though it wasn't meant for it, I think it's a nice touch to finish the season off at Spa. Such a legendary circuit, and yeah, everyone loves that circuit, don't they?
Now, absolutely. As well as that, we have already crowned a few champions here at Invictus Racing League, even with a couple of rounds to go. So, on all three platforms, drivers and constructors. But yeah, still very tight here in PS4 F3, and we will touch on that just a little bit later, just to cover off a few details of Russia at the Sochi Autodrome. A very difficult track to get right, Jakob. It's famous for its track limits and penalties, and we've seen multiple drivers already DSQ'd this week from exceeding that 15-second limit. Overtaking's not the easiest, despite having one of the longest straights on the calendar, but hopefully the guys can bring us some action here tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, as you mentioned, Ryan, the guys have to look out for a possible DQ, and the penalties at the end of the race can very well stack up. As for me personally, I feel like this is definitely a track where you need to get the flow right, because as soon as you get that first warning, you just keep racking them up, and the penalties keep stacking up, and that's definitely not what you want. So you have to get the flow going, and then just kind of keep a cool head around, and when and if you get that first warning, just stay cool-headed and keep going, and yeah, maybe go that half a tenth slower into certain corners to avoid that possible warning or even penalty at the end.
Now, it does look as if we are starting off the session with dry weather, so be interesting to find out the weather report for the race as qualifying does commence. We do have a couple of guys in the chat. Keza saying good evening, Mr. P, feeling that it is difficult to overtake around here, and he's not wrong. First car out of the pit box does look to be an Alfa Romeo, actually, of Simon Palmer, so we'll jump on board with him for his outlap. We'll see how he gets on. 27 laps here tonight around Sochi. Very straightforward strategy, to be honest. Can expect the majority of drivers to be out on the softs. As, yep, soft, medium, all the way, and there's quite a bit of leeway depending on where you pit, anywhere between sort of lap 8 and 12. Undercuts can be powerful if you are powering through on that overtake button with your fuel turned right up, but yeah, expect to see not many strategies. It's going to come down to outright pace to the end of the night, unless safety cars bring some drivers back into play.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the, what at least it has turned out to be one of the few tracks where you can actually go soft medium, and that's definitely the fastest strategy around here. And well, you can start on both soft and then go to medium, or the other way around. Definitely depends on where your starting position is and what, if you're forced to start on the soft or medium tyre at the end of the day.
We've got Mr. P, Simon Palmer, just coming round the final sector. Do you want to take us on board the lap, Jacob, or shall I?
You'll get the honest this time, I feel.
Right, okay. Well, here we go, on board with the Alfa Romeo, pulling up to the longest flat-out section on the track, 1,073 metres, hugging the wall as tight as you can to scrub off those extra thousandths as the drivers are on full throttle for 70% of this lap. Simon Palmer spots his braking point on the left-hand side as he hugs the inside, turn 1, absolutely perfect. Again, nice and tight all the way, round 3 here, trying to straddle the curb on entry to turn 4. Very easy to invalidate and pick up warnings all night. The walls do close in very, very fast as he now punts it down to turn 5. First car out on track, he does go. Purple sector 1, of course. Again, looking to cut a little bit of time off with the extra thousandths by sticking as close to the walls as he can. Very tricky corner here. You need to make sure that you get on the throttle as quick as you can, as Simon actually has a little bit of a moment. Surprised he didn't invalidate there as we come down to the DRS zone on the back straight, out of turn 10 through turn 11. Although the drivers are completely flat, looking to stay all the way over to the right to make sure that you get a completely straight braking point into turn 13. 14 and 15, usually expecting the short upshifts, as we do have a completely off-camber left-hander here. You can expect to see a lot of drivers losing control. So again, Mr. P straddling those curbs beautifully as he heads now down into the final 2 turns, 17 and 18. Not taking quite as much curb as he could have. Again, making sure that he is safe through his banker, and it's a good banker there from Mr. P. It's a 31.1. Very good lap from Simon.
Yeah, pretty decent lap there from Simon, and yeah, provisional P1 as he is the only one who's set a time, but I believe the guys are coming around just now to either start their pushing lap or set a time, as we got Hailstone there on the soft tyre, just almost a second down actually to Simon's lap there, so he must have made a big mistake somewhere and lost a big chunk of time there.
Let's have a little look around to see who is on their flying lap, as Craig in his Red Bull has invalidated by the looks of it, but his teammate Delaney in the other Red Bull is coming around the final corner to set his flying lap, and he's nicked it by just over 1,000th of a second. Jacob, he's on provisional pole.
Yeah, so already starting out to look pretty close between the drivers, fighting for big positions tonight, and yeah, Delaney 31-1. Yeah, good banker, but at least I am. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I'm expecting them to get into the 30s tonight, definitely.
Yeah, especially putting in bankers like that. I'm sure we'll see those times come tumbling down, as next across the lines Nick J. Thompson. It's enough for provisional second row, and our current top 4 are separated by no less than, what, 2 tenths, 3 tenths? So looking very tight already at the front.
Yeah, and only, well, almost half the grid yet to set a time, and yeah, we have a couple of guys on the medium tires. There usually is a couple of them trying out for the medium tire, but it can be so very tricky to get a good enough time to stick in the top 10 and then eventually start in the tire, which is what they ultimately want. So yeah, some drivers make the choice to go for 4 set of soft tires in quali, and others go for 3 softs and 1 medium, and then they usually use their medium tire for the banker lap and then just keep getting quicker on from there. So yeah, lots of different strategies going into the quali, considering the medium and soft tire to start on. But yeah, as Ryan mentioned earlier, the strategy for the races is quite similar around here: soft medium or medium soft, however you want to go around doing it. So yeah, interesting.
I think we have had confirmation as well of the weather. Jacob, it does look as if it's going to be a similar situation in the race. Full dry expected, so no surprises here.
Yeah,
like
no
we said, flat out pace,
definitely.
soft medium. I'm looking forward to this one actually. It's not, I don't think we've really had the chance to see this come into play so far for PS4 F3. Just the quickest strategy possible. Soft mediums, we no weather surprises, just flat out racing.
Yeah, definitely, and the strategy not coming into play and just flat out pace, as you said, there coming into play and definitely will most likely decide it. Otherwise, the penalties may have something to say about that. But yeah, definitely not the strategy that will change a whole lot of things for this race. So pretty cool to finally, or for the first time pretty much this season, see the drivers just going flat out and yeah, just don't really have to worry too much about their strategy and tire for the race and quali, even as this track definitely isn't a track that destroys your tires as much as other tracks before the season, like yeah, just Hungary 2 rounds ago. So yeah, this definitely you can go flat out as all you want, everywhere you want, and yeah, the tire will definitely still stick around and have lots of grip and traction still, as it lasts both of the tires can last very long, half the race distance for the soft pretty much, so no worries there.
We are on board with Keza, Jacob. He has went purple sector 1 and 2. Some unfortunate form recently with a double DNF, but his teammate absolutely loving life on the podium. 2 wins back to back, followed by a second. Where can Keza go? It's enough for the front row as Mr. Steen's into the 30s. Keza's on the 31 flat, and the times continue to tumble down.
Yeah, so Mr. Steen already into the 30s before the half time of the qualifying mark. So yeah, pretty good lap from Mr. Steen. Two and a bit tenths down to Keza in provisional P2, but yeah, Mr. Steen has in the previous 2 rounds, he has showed his pace in qualifying, and we know how good he is in qualifying on that 1 lap pace. He has just been lacking a bit of consistency, and he has been quite unlucky as well with yeah, damage and so on in his race. So yeah, definitely has got the pace, so hoping for him to definitely show us that in the race tonight.
Simon Palmer just coming up to complete sector 2 on the hunt with the racing point in front in the form of traffic. He's up marginally. It might just be enough to clip that Delaney unless he pulls out a very strong sector 3. Delaney chasing down R&J, who's only managed to put in a medium time so far during qualifying. A little bit loosey-goosey there from the Alfa Romeo as he's unfortunately going to invalidate it there, straddling the curb just that little bit too much.
Yeah, he just went over that curb and turned 15 on the entry there, a bit too much, and then got all sloppy on the entry and exit out of turn 16. As yeah, turn 15 can be very tricky as you go completely off camber, and the whole momentum of the car has to switch from one side to the other, and yeah, the car doesn't really like to do that, so you will rarely get a pretty clean exit out of that. From personal experience, you very easily have to catch an oversteer or understeer or what may come into consideration there, but yeah, if not that, very easy to get the invalidation there on the exit of turn 16 as Simon just got on yeah, had to box for a new set of softs.
Speaking briefly of the man on the hunt before Delaney in his Red Bull, looking pretty tasty through sector 1, negotiating sector 2 pretty nicely so far as well. I hope you are enjoying the moans and groans of that Honda engine for potentially the final era, guys. Delaney powers through sector 2. Where's he going to be when he comes across the sector 2 line? He's up by a tenth. Could be enough to put him onto the front row beside Mr. Steen. Bet 9000 does unfortunately retire from the session. It does look like it's out of turn 4. Might have just got caught on the curb, but still on board here with Delaney as he's coming up to the final 2 turns. Spots the braking point. Does take a little bit of curb, which, like you said, Jacob, does tend to unsettle the car just that little bit, but does look as if it's going to be an improvement from Delaney. It's not enough to jump position, though it's a marginal improvement, but does take him out of the reach of Simon Palmer just that little bit.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Delaney, just 100th and a bit of Keza there, so just a slight improvement in one of the corners that would have seen him jump up to the front row and demote Keza into P3, but yeah, nonetheless a good lap for DeLange, and
Mr. Steen's just improved by a good bit as well. Down to 30.4. Jakob, sorry to jump in, but another 3 tenths. Is there anybody that's going to have the pace tonight to match that of the man in the Williams?
Yeah, impressive lap by Steen there. Didn't even see that. So nice for you to mention that. 6 tenths down to P2 Kesa. So Mr. Steen already looks to be in a world of his own around this track, and hoping for the other guys to definitely challenge him, as this is very big margin down to P2, 6 tenths. That's, I don't know if I've seen that before this season, but that's pure domination that from Mr. Steen already.
Interesting strategy choice here from Luke Bailey. 5 minutes left in the session, yet to set a time. He's still out on those mediums, so obviously looking to do the reverse. Only other driver out there with a set of medium tyres fitted is, no surprise to any of us, Gareth Hall. Know that he doesn't like soft tyres or qualifying, so still yet to set a time as well. Sat in his box, but Luke Bailey actually chasing the podium record along with last season's championship rival and championship winner, reigning F3 champion Craig. Both currently sat down 15th, 16th, chasing that podium record for PS4 F3. Currently held by, is it Jim Nagunner on 15, and Ferocious Dan, sorry. Luke Bailey and Craig on 14 apiece. So see if any of them could potentially put themselves onto the podium for the season. And we're still riding on board with Luke Bailey, as he's just negotiated the final part of Sector 2. Pulling into Sector 3, Jakob really separates the men's from the boys in terms of how they have their car set up. Can certainly get loose around the off-camber left and the very tricky right. You can just tell by how committed the drivers are on their turning speeds through turns 17 and 18. Luke Bailey seems to hook up very nicely. He is going to be the quickest of the medium runners, but it's only enough for 13th, so.
Yeah, look to be turning in, his turning in point look quite nice, just not quite carrying what I would say enough speed around the last 3 corners or so. The turning in point was bang on, but he just needed that 10 or 15 kph to match and set a good time there, and maybe jump Matty in P14.
Now it's a Williams in pole position. The other Williams of Humberstone just been dropped down to 9th by Simon Palmer, I believe. Apologies, it was R&J jumping up into 3rd. A good lap from Simon as well, actually, to take 2nd. We're on board with Humberstone just now in the Williams, going round turn 3. Again, handling turn 4 beautifully, straddling that curb perfectly. So we can really see who's brave enough to get onto those curbs and really exploit that track, Jakob, as we know how tight it can be around Russia. There is no margin for error.
No, definitely not. And yeah, as you mentioned just a second ago, Simon Palm all the way up in P2, all closing a bit down to Mr. Steen, but yeah, almost still 2 turns. But Simon, in the last couple of rounds since the break mid-season, he's definitely looked like he's been enjoying himself and just got back into the groove, and yeah, just picked up his speed and got a big chunks of points the last couple of races, and has actually brought up Alfa Romeo pretty much. Well, Luke Bailey as well, having some standout performances, and I remember him having a podium or 2. So the Alfa Romeo guys fighting for, well, not fighting for the Constructors' Championship, but at least fighting against most of the other guys for position, as they were. I remember 4 or 5 rounds ago at the start of the season, they weren't getting off that well, and were all the way down at the bottom, I believe. So they're all the way up in P6 now in the Constructor, so they're definitely making a fight here towards the end of the season, and making it a good run for it.
1 minute 30 left in the session, guys. Let's have a look to see who is currently on a hot lap. Just looking down the timing sheets, it does look as if Kez has just started his lap on the Ferrari Reshka could potentially be on a flying lap as he's currently negotiating sector 3. He's marginally up. We'll see if he is able to improve around the final 2 corners. Going to need to fully send it. It's a big lock up inside right there from Resh and the McLaren, but it's going to improve by just under a half a tenth. It's not going to move position for him, unfortunately, as Gareth Hall retiring from the session in the pits. Not set a time. I don't think Gareth's actually feeling too great tonight, so that maybe explain not exiting the pits this evening, but hopefully we see him come to life in the race as we usually do. It's good to see Gareth climbing forward. Lipensky next to come across the line. It does look as if that's going to be his final flying lap for this evening. Slots him into 13th. We'll see if he stays there. His teammate Hailstone's just coming round to start his final flying lap of the session. Humberstone's going to be finished for this evening, and the only other driver that's still yet to set a time is Craig. He's got a good bit of traffic to negotiate, and it does look as if he may have been impeded very slightly there from Steel B, and it looks as if that's going to do it for Craig, unfortunately. Down in 17th in this packed grid tonight, unfortunately, not able to set a time.
As Kesa there just moves up into Prix, just going almost half a second quicker than his previous time, so jumping both Delangay and RNJ there, I believe. So Kesa all the way up into the second row there, and his teammate just following it behind, so a Ferrari on the second row there, and yeah, definitely not what they would have liked to, as they have, as we know, they have been very strong in qualifying, both of them locking up front rows a couple of times, and a pole. They have had quite a few poles this season. It usually is one of them having the pole and then the other one having a bit of a scrappy qualifying, but nonetheless up at the front. So nice to see them both up at the second row.
Nick J. Thompson absolutely wrestling with his car through sector 3 here, Jacob. He's currently in P8 and he's looking pretty quick. I hope he's able to improve here. He is going to go round to the line. It is enough for 6, a 31 flat for Nick J. Thompson. It's then going to be the Hailstone that comes around the final corner. It's enough for P9, last man to come across the line. He is going to come around and complete his final flying lap of the evening. Delany, the man chasing Aaron, it's enough for the second row. He splits the Ferraris, Jacob.
Yeah, just jumped Wojtek there by half a tenth. Delany got out at the very last second again, as I recall him doing at Baku last week as well, at the Azerbaijan circuit, so the Baku City circuit, sorry. And yeah, just Delany getting that 100th or so out of the track, and yeah, jumping up to the second row in P4.
Now that's the only thing, Jacob, with the run down to turn 1. I don't think pole's potentially where you really want to be this evening. As we run through tonight's qualifying classifications, Mr. Steen in the Williams takes pole position with a 1 minute 30.440, just under 2/10 back. A great lap from Simon Palmaretti in the Alfa Romeo. Keza takes P3, and joining him on the second row is Delany, running second in the championship with his rival down in 6. Delany in that Ferrari sandwich. Wojtek takes P5, as we said, Aaron P6, Nick J. Thompson in P7, Steel B in P8, the Hailstone in P9, and Humberstone in P10. Just outside those top 10 classifications, we have those that will have the free tyre choice in the race. Sheepy committing to no assists tonight as well, I believe. Jacob starts in P11, so he'll be the first car with the free tyre choice with Reshka alongside him. 13th and 14th we've got Lipensky and Luke Bailey, with Matty in 15th, and the 3 drivers unfortunately unable to set a time. Gareth in 16th, Craig in 17th, with Beck 9000 retiring from the session down in 18th. So yeah, Jacob, as we're saying, I mean, just over 1,000 metres for that straight from the final corner, turn 18, down to the technical first and second and third corner. So 890 metres. Grid is set very far back on this straight, so those on the second row will have the biggest advantage in the run down to turn 1.
Yeah,
oh, well, sorry, it's classed as turn 2, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, the turn 1 is the little kink between turn 1 and 2, obviously. So well, between turn 18 and 2, sorry. So turn 1, it's a flat-out corner, so I wouldn't really consider it as a corner, but
yeah,
it
it's
can
exact
actually
same
be
as turn
quite
11,
tricky
isn't
to
it?
go.
Full flat out.
Yeah, it can be a bit tricky to go side by side, especially if there's a car just behind trying to go side by side and make it 3 wide. That's pretty much impossible, and I have seen that happen on a few occasions, and it doesn't really end up that great after all. So maybe the guys need to take a step back and then just let it stand, like sit behind for, well, the kink turn 1, and then try to maybe overtake into turn 2. But yeah, with all the cars going just behind each other, it can be very tricky, and yeah, very easy to lose a front ring and get some damage early on, and that's definitely not what they want to.
Drivers getting ready to go here this evening. Sun is splitting the skies here in Sochi, so looking forward to this one. 27 laps around Sochi Autodrome here in Russia. Pole position will start you from the left-hand side of the track. Very slow pit lane here in Russia. A very, very bumpy exit. I don't know if you've driven it much on this new game, Jacob, but yeah, be very, very careful planting the throttle coming out of the pit lane, because yeah, you could find yourself in the wall pretty easily. Drivers do start on their formation lap. Usually see it in actual F1 where the driver on pole position does angle their car towards that inside wall to cover off the drivers on the inside and try and prevent the tow. Ferrari's in perfect position tonight to be helping each other out. They start in 3rd and 5th directly behind each other, so don't be surprised to see them, as they have done, work together very well all season. Wojtek slingshot up past Keza and then potentially repay the favour later on in the race. A couple of other drivers with their teammates a bit further away than you would ideally like to be. Very mixed grid in terms of teams. It's nice to see it completely packed out. 18 drivers. I'm looking forward to this one, Jacob.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, and very nice to see, actually. Not everyone outside the top 10 starting on the medium tire. Rescue there in 12th, trying out the strategy with as the guys in the top 10 now to go soft medium instead of medium soft, as it looks like he'd want to get a couple of positions off the start and then try to make his race from there.
Drivers coming into sector 3 now. Mr. Steen keen to get a move on and get the racing underway. Be interesting to see how the drivers do negotiate turns 2 and 3. Pre-race briefing, they were advised if they do run wide from turn 2 to follow the complete track laws of the FIA, round those orange cones and through the tight bollard on the inside of turn 3. So I wouldn't want to be me, Jacob. It's not the biggest of gaps to get these modern day F1 cars through. They're absolutely huge, but hopefully everybody can get through cleanly and unscathed.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that we saw Carlos Sainz make a bit mess of that, so wouldn't want to see that happen to anyone tonight.
Looking forward to see if Reshka can do anything from 12th with the likes of Sheepy starting and no assist tonight. I hope he's been practicing his starts, Jacob, because he'll need to get into 3rd and 4th gear as quick as he possibly can. Not getting the greatest of angles here for the grid, but if you want to do the honours, Jacob.
Yeah, 4, 5 and 5 red lights, and they're waiting, and off we go. And looks like Reshka actually, not Reshka, so Mr. Steen got off to quite a good start there, but as we said earlier, the slipstream will have a big effect there, and Kesa all the way up into 2nd now, challenging Mr. Steen for the lead, as Simon Palmer is just side by side with the Ferrari going into turn 2 there, and the Ferrari manages to just stay ahead, and we have a Racing Point off the track there, but yeah, Kesa jumping Simon up into 2nd place, and Aaron J all the way up into 4th place already, so jumping both Delange and Wojtek all the way up into 4th, so great start by Aaron J. Otherwise it looked to be quite a clean start from everyone except the Racing Point having to go off track there out of turn 2.
As we expected, having a tough time from the start tonight. Jacob Sheepy finds himself all the way down in 18th place, unfortunately, but yeah, great start from Keza, managing to nip in front of Simon Palmer for 2nd place, and Aaron J doing very well to jump ahead a couple of drivers. as he does find himself directly in front of his closest championship rival, who has a Ferrari all over the back of him.
Yeah, so great start, Ryan J. They're just ahead of Delange, his championship challengers.
Delange's down inside of Aaron.
Side by side there into turn 13, but Aaron J looks just to keep the position, as it is very tricky to go side by side there, and Aaron J just had to a bit better traction there. Wojtek actually goes to challenge Delange, as Delange had a very poor exit there out of turn 14 and 15, but Delange just has the inside there, so nothing for Wojtek to do there, as he has to stay behind for the exit of turn 18, but we'll definitely have the slipstream effect going into turn 2.
Nick J. Thompson in perfect position to be helping his teammate if he wants to get up through the back of that Ferrari. On board with Wojtek, chasing down Delange for third position, opting for a slightly wider line than most, Jacob. Just wait for the timing screens to sort themselves out. Apologies, guys. Forgot who's actually where now. So we do have a few cars boxing very early. Steel B, Matty, and it looks to be a racing point of the hailstone.
Yeah, so the guys pitting on lap 1 must have got damage, which is unfortunate, but yeah, very easy to get lap 1 as it is. Can be tricky to go side by side and exchange room for each other, so couple of drivers looking to get a new wing and a new set of tires on, and yeah, they have quite a big gap towards the leading pack, I could say. This is pretty much a train from first down to all the way down to 15, except pretty much only the gap from Aaron J to Delange, and yeah, a few gaps between the 12 to 14 there, but otherwise pretty much one train, and yeah, the guys sticking on a hard tire will definitely get them to the end, but will for sure be very slow, and yeah, a lot of time lost there.
DRS has been activated this lap. Keza won't have it on this straight just yet, but he's certainly putting himself close enough to Mr. Steen to have a charge down that back straight. Jump on board and have a little look at battery. Mr. Steen doing everything that he can to break that toe and slipstream, but yep, Keza holding on, just under half a second now.
Yeah, and Wojtek actually going side by side there, out of turn 3, the whole left-hand corner there, and actually going ahead of Delange, as he just had the inside there. He used all of the DRS and ERS up towards turn 2, and then got a better exit out of turn 2 and got side by side throughout the left-hand corner, and just luckily had the better traction and a tiny bit of grip on the outside, so very surprising, but a great overtake by Wojtek there out of turn 3.
No team orders here from Christian Horner either, the sister team of Red Bull. We've got Nick J. Thompson chasing down Delange for 6th position after a good start, finds himself slipping backwards. There's nothing that he's going to be able to do unless he tries to brake late. Big lock up from Nick J. Thompson, does look as if he's going to hold on to it for another couple of corners, but jump back on board as Keza does actually appear to have gotten past Mr. Steen on the back straight. Apologies, guys, we have unfortunately missed that, but wouldn't be surprised if we see Steen attack back on this straight right in front of us, as Aaron J's all over the back of Simon Palmer directly behind as well.
Yeah, so lots of overtaking already, and yeah, this is not pretty much, but kind of a replica of Silverstone, as it is very easy. As long as you stay within the DRS, you can very easily stay with someone and just charge up your ERS, and then wait for the guy ahead to deplete their battery completely, and then overtake them when they are, pretty vulnerable, to say the least, and that's exactly what Kessler has done there, and now Mr. Steen is trying to hit him back at some point with a pretty much fully charged battery.
Yeah, Steen looked as if he did want to get back in behind that Ferrari to charge up his energy deployment system just that little bit. Wouldn't be surprised to see him make a charge on that Ferrari within the next couple of straights. DRS being so powerful around here as Lipinski picks up the first penalty of the evening on lap 4. Steen doesn't look as if he's going to be close enough just yet on this straight, but Aaron could potentially be close enough too. Simon, if it wasn't for the fact that everybody in front of him also had DRS, so keep an eye on that one for the DRS break-in, as the front four do look as if they have checked out a little bit, Jacob.
Yeah, they've got the DRS in each other, so very easy, as I mentioned just a couple of laps ago, to stick with each other. And Wojtek in fifth lost out big time when he was behind DeLange, as they were scrapping and fighting quite for position around 1 or 2 laps. So that's definitely a part of the explanation as to why Wojtek is that 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds behind, and will definitely have to fight off Nick here for P5, as Nick's got the DRS and definitely will have to overtake him there as he goes to the inside. But Wojtek there braking very late and manages to stick it around the outside there and keep the position.
Well, Mr. Steen and Kez are still going side by side around turn 3, Jacob. Into turn 4, does look as if they managed to avoid contact. Kez has managed to squeeze himself back in front. It's certainly all happening out for the lead of the race.
Yeah, so exactly there, Mr. Steen just waiting for his opportunity to overtake there. So I just had a look and they looked like they had a tiny touch there and a little wheel bang out of turn 4. So definitely giving it their all and fighting for position as you would like. And now Kessel looks to be having 7-10, so shouldn't be too worried about Mr. Steen around this straight, but definitely will be closer around for
yellow flag, safety car, Beck's
there.
Retired from the session. It's very unfortunate from the man in the Renault, and it does look as if he's just Beck absolutely lost it. Full on safety car. So suiting the soft runners, mediums could potentially go to the end from here. Don't be surprised to see a couple of drivers put on a set of hards, but absolutely maximum tyre life on those mediums, about 22 laps. So we'll see who's going to risk it for a biscuit. We'll see who's going to play it safe. Very slow pit lane here as Reschke unfortunately picks up a 3-second time penalty under safety car. Yeah,
so this will be very tricky and annoying for
as well for a couple
loads
of these
cars.
Cars,
yeah, exactly, as they're both the Ferraris and the Alphas and the Red Bulls as well are double stacking well pretty much everyone at this point. So definitely we'll have to take some time off of some of the drivers, and we'll definitely lose them out a couple of positions. But the other way, a couple of guys will gain a position in the pit. So you win and lose, and as I just had Reschke down in 12th, I'm pretty sure he was P8 or P9 when he entered. So he was definitely one of the big losers in that pit stop. But he did go onto the medium tyre. So
yeah, we have got a few brave guys out there choosing that medium compound. Another few guys playing it safe. I'm sure the medium guys wouldn't mind a late safety car, as I'm sure our front 3 runners wouldn't mind a cheap safety car pit stop. 5 laps only on those mediums. Should manage to hold their own from the cars in front, as the tyres won't be too worn just yet. We do know that Luke, Craig and Gareth all have pace when they want it. So currently running 1, 2 and 3. Majority of the pack, other than the back 3.
Is that the second pit stop already?
It does look like it.
2 stops already.
We'll have a little look
from the back 3
under safety car for our biggest winners and losers. Not too much movement, as the top 3 are obviously starting outside the top 10 on those mediums, finding themselves right up above the grid. Other than that, Simon Palmer and Aaron J for some reason switching positions under safety car. So Simon Palmer not happy about that, immediately wants back past Aaron J, so not quite sure what's happening there. Wouldn't be surprised if they're picking up illegal overtakes for that one.
Yeah, looked very strange, that's for sure, but yeah, it could be one of the glitches in the game, unfortunately. But I can't tell you for sure if Simon was ahead or not, or if they were just passing each other. As we actually have Craig going into the pit there a lap later, so he'll definitely lose out. But yeah, I believe he was towards the back end of the grid regardless, as he started all the way down in 17th or 18th, I believe. So
Yeah, no
As he
delta
actually goes
now
onto
that the
the
cars
soft
have
there.
been collected. Wow, that's surprising from Craig, unless I've missed something and is disconnected from the session and the AI's done that for him, but very interesting strategy choice from Craig.
Yeah, so he'll definitely put on a charge on those soft tyre and try to make up well, loads of positions, especially from those guys running on hard tyre. He'll definitely have a big advantage there, and yeah, he'll definitely try to push and make up places and positions and a couple of seconds to most drivers, and most importantly try to avoid penalties, as he'll definitely have to pit again, and he can go soft from here, I believe, so soft regardless, but yeah, still a pit stop short of pretty much everyone else.
Just looking to avoid those hard tyres completely. Jakob, as they are just under 1.8 seconds a lap slower than the softs. Medium's 1.1 seconds slower than the soft. So Craig obviously feeling that the medium soft tyres could do a double stint here for him, as Nick J. Thompson's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow
Yeah,
flags, so that might be the
looked
jumping
like he
about
just passed
behind safety
Mr.
car.
Steen there, so Mr. Steen all the way down in 9th now. I'm not quite so sure what happened there, but he was up there challenging Kesa, who's in 3rd, so I'm not too sure what happened, but definitely way out of position there for Mr. Steen.
Very tricky sector here under safety car with how slow that Mercedes goes. Drivers behind almost finding themselves into the back of each other, and that's a very late call from safety car in this lap, if I'm being honest, Jacob. Doesn't give much time for those that haven't warmed the tyres to warm their tyres. The front two on mediums with Keza just behind on a set of hards. I'm sure Keza might be the biggest loser there with trying to get those tyres up to temperature. And we'll see when Luke Bailey goes, as it's a very, very long... Oh, and he's away. Does look as if he's got not too bad a jump, but the slipstream is very powerful around Sochi. As they head now down into the kink of turn 1. Gareth already trying to break the toe to Keza behind. We're on board with the man in the Merc's rear wing. We'll see if Keza could potentially make a dive down into turn 2 and chase after Luke Bailey. He's going to go for it. Does look as if he's just about managed to get that done, but Gareth on the slightly softer compound might be able to hang it with him around outside of turn 3. Does take an exceptionally wide line, as he'll have Simon Palmer breathing down the back of his neck pretty quickly as well, with Aaron closely following. So Luke Bailey checking out 1.3 seconds up the road already as the cars behind start to fight. I don't think he'll be complaining. Further ahead that he can get, the cheaper pit stop he could potentially get later on.
Yeah, definitely. So exactly what Luke Bailey would have wanted, and yeah, this is going to give him a couple of laps to, yeah, well, keep the lead, and maybe keep the lead until Kesa's hard tyres get into their prime, and yeah, then as you mentioned, get a cheap pit stop. But yeah, on the when the safety car got in, I was on board with Gareth, and looked like a very, very poor exit there out of turn 18, and I believe that's part of the reason as to why Kesa got on side of him and overtook him into turn 2, and yeah, that's the gap is 1.3 seconds. I believe Gareth was almost 1 second behind Luke Bailey into turn 2, so yeah, exactly what Luke Bailey would have wanted, and yeah, Kesa, the only one who's been able to overtake Gareth on the lap we've run after the safety car, so now Kesa will definitely want to make a gap down to Gareth before the other guys get to pass him.
Well, it certainly looks as if Simon Palmer wants to get by as quickly as he possibly can as well. Without DRS, it doesn't look as if he's going to be able to do it. Gareth obviously running a pretty slippy setup in a straight line. Gareth sticking to that complete racing line away on the outside. Simon Palmer cutting as much of the track as he possibly can without picking up warnings. He's all the way over that curb, and you can just see what scrubbing some of the track off does for scrubbing off some of your time.
Yeah, exactly. Can be very tricky, and yeah, a very unforgiving circuit. So definitely have to hit the most apexes pretty much spot on, otherwise you will lose out those couple of hundred that will eventually make you lose the position, or yeah, even get the penalty. So very tricky.
Simon Palmer definitely close enough this time if he's got any energy left to fight with that Mercedes. Is it going to be a move down on the back straight as he looks for the inside, but the gap's not there, and Simon's absolutely sent it almost into the barriers, and a bit of an overshot on the brakes there. Good defending from Gareth, didn't want to give up the inside, opted to defend it. Simon tried to squeeze his way through and it just didn't work for him.
Yeah, very good defending there from Gareth, just squeezing Simon to the inside, but definitely leaving him with enough room, and looked like that was looked like it tricked Simon, the braking point tricked Simon a bit on, he overshot it by 10 or 15 meters, and luckily for him he didn't end up in the wall, but was very close to it at least. And as we have now at the front, RNJ overtaking Red
Bull
Gareth
in the wall. Was that Delaney in 6th position? Be surprised if he didn't pick up wing damage there, as he was looking to negotiate round the outside of the Ferrari, but he's still all over the back of him. I don't think he's got wing damage, or he does. He's missing his front left end plate with that clatter off the wall.
Plate,
Wow, Williams very wide as Humblestone's looking to fight his way through the pack.
Yeah, going side by side with Nick there into turn 5, and now coming down to turn 7, looks to be side by side still, and Humberstone sticking to the outside, just going.
Oh, and he's collected Breshka as well. Big accidents. Big accidents.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a safety car. There's a serious amount of debris on the track, but it does look as if everybody's managed to get themselves back up and running. It's Sheepy that's came round the corner and lost absolutely everything. Surprised we didn't see wheels flying. Nick J. Thompson with another penalty, and very unfortunate for the guys in mid-pack here.
Yeah, Nick looked to be having a pretty good race, fighting for a couple of points, and looked to be having the pace as we have now. Sheepy and 13 struggling loads, and having both Nick and Matty go past him, as he looks to be struggling quite a bit without the assist. But you don't learn to drive without assist overnight, so definitely will take some time to Sheepy to adjust, and unfortunately for him that he is struggling as much as it looks like. But definitely cool, and to see guys turning off the assist due to the season, and over the period of the season throughout. So unfortunate that he's struggling with pace, but at some point he'll definitely pick it up and get back to it.
Delaney continuing to fall backwards, unfortunately, with that wing damage, as his championship rival finds himself running in 3rd place with a set of tyres that could easily see him go to the end. But it's Luke Bailey and Keza that are battling out through the front. 410 separate the two as they now come on to the final corner before the back straights. DRS will open up nicely for Keza. He's all over the back of Luke Bailey. Don't think there's much that Luke Bailey's going to be able to do here unless Keza's quite happy to sit behind. Luke Bailey's light is flashing, he is going to be harvesting, and he just accepts defeat, peels to the inside and lets Keza go. He knows he's on tyres that will take him to the end. Luke Bailey really needs to look after this compound, as he could potentially go on for a very good finish here if we do see a potential safety car later on, Jacob.
Yeah, so it would definitely benefit the likes of Gareth and Luke Bailey with the safety car now on the next couple of laps, as they are the only two guys who are yet to make a stop, and they'll have to go for the softs at the end, so they still have to stay out for another 3 or 4 or 5 laps, probably 3 or 4 laps optimum. But safety car will definitely help them, as Wojtek just got past Gareth on the straight between turn 1 and 2, so Wojtek up into 4th place, and his teammate on the other Ferrari leading the race 7/10 ahead of Luke Bailey. So looking very good for the Ferrari guys so far.
Luke Bailey still managing to hold on to the coattails of Keza out in the lead. More pit stops as Delaney decides that end plate's causing them too much bother. Comes in for a fresh set of mediums, as did I miss Craig coming into the box after selecting those softs as well, Jacob, and putting on a set of mediums as well.
Definitely very hard with wing damage, as you can definitely drive around and and you feel like you don't lose too much, but then you look up at the delta and you just keep losing that half a second to the driver ahead, and yeah, then you have to make the decisive call if you want to stay out for the rest of the race with wing damage, or yeah, pit and lose out a whole stop and then try to regain all of those seconds yet again.
Steel B, Pink Panther sandwich, Lipinski and the Hailstone split by a Haas. Does look as if the Hailstone is chasing down Steel B very, very closely. Lipinski doing what teammates should, trying to break that DRS so his teammate can get up alongside, but the Hailstone already harvesting energy. He's not going to be close enough to make a move this time around, unfortunately. Jump back up the times and see if there's anybody else that can make a move, and it's Craig on a slightly fresher compound than Mr. Steen. Coming into Sector 1 as he crossed the line, but Mr. Steen with a slightly better exit. Going to drop Craig a little bit even though you have DRS. Might be close come the end of the straight if Craig is looking to attack. Jump on board T-Cam with the Red Bull as he hunts down the Williams in front for 13th. Gets out the dirty air for braking, but not much Craig's going to be able to do on this lap.
No, so you'll have to stick around and wait for one of the straights, as it is very tricky to overtake between the two straights, and although we have seen it a couple of times already, you have to be right up the other one's gearbox and definitely bank on getting a better exit out of one of the half corners or so, and yeah, definitely try to hit the apex very clean, otherwise it will be very hard to stick just behind someone and get ready for an overtake.
Racing point, the Hailstone still chasing down Steel B as Reska picks up a 3-second time penalty, currently running down in 16th, and we've got a little bit of a chain here forming behind the racing point of Lipinski. Gareth is kind of having a wee race on his own as well, a bit further ahead, 13 laps on those medium tyres, banking on a safety car potentially. Steel B now peels to the inside with Simon Palmer just behind, having a look up the inside of the other racing point. There's actually going to be a bit of contact there between the two racing points and the Haas, as Simon Palmer's now going to gain a position on free merit as he's still chasing down the other two. Very lucky there for the Hailstone and Steel B to not come together, but it's going to invite Simon Palmer potentially up the inside of the racing point. Very daring move there from Simon, unfortunately going to come off second best. Careful not to jump into oncoming traffic here, so he does reverse off the racing line. And yellow flag sector 1 and 2 as there should be, but back to greens we are, back racing. Bit tight there to try and squeeze down the inside under braking, not really the move that you would go for in the race, not the easiest place to pass. Might have been a little bit more patient, but after an unfortunate mishap a little bit earlier on with Gareth going into the braking zone, just unfortunate there from Simon. It was looking for a good race from the start for him.
Yeah, unfortunate for Simon, and yeah, as you mentioned, very tricky to overtake between the two straights, as now we have Aaron J, who's finally, I was more to say, caught up to Luke Bailey about 4 or 5 laps after Kesa. So yeah, he's got 3.5 seconds almost up to Kesa, and definitely will be a tough challenge for Aaron J to catch up to him, regardless of the penalties or not, as he still is yet to pass Luke Bailey, who just manages to stay ahead of that straight onto turn 2, as look like, yeah, neither of them having any ERS left to play with. So just have to get yeah, whoever gets a better exit is the winner at the end of the day. And yeah, 8 laps old hard tyres and 14 laps old medium tyres, none of them definitely will be ideal, as Aaron J actually goes off track there. Not sure if he got a warning or he was too wide there, but definitely went way off track.
1, that's a Red Bull of Craig, unfortunately down in 15th place. Unsure if he's managed to get his car back up and running. Does look like he has. Don't know if he's dropped it or if he was in a battle, but we missed it, unfortunately, guys. As Aaron J now making the move on Luke Bailey for second place. manages to get the car slowed down just in time, but Luke Bailey going to try his best to hang it with the man in AlphaTauri. 14 laps on his medium tyres. They won't be too dead just yet, but hard tyres will certainly be coming into their own. He's still all over the back. Yellow flag sector 1 and 2. Is that Craig off again? Tyres must be cooked. Sheepy in the Mercedes sweeps round and takes 16th position from him.
Yeah, so lots of guys seem to have a great first stint until the safety car, and yet somehow most of the guys outside of the top 10 was well in the point, and both Mr. Steen and DeLange 13 and 14th, as they were fighting for, well, one of them was fighting for the win and the other one was fighting for a podium, so very strange to see them all the way down there, and yeah, bit of a mishap to see them fighting so much on the medium and on hard tires compared to the soft tires, but yeah, as Ryan mentioned earlier, the hard tire is way slower, but definitely still manageable, but yeah, about 1.7 or 8 seconds I believe you mentioned, Ryan, slower, so yeah, definitely have to get the flow going and yeah, avoid those annoying penalties.
Now the chain is catching up to the back of Luke Bailey as R&J is in prime position to extend his Drivers' Championship lead. Currently running in second, yellow flag sector 1 with Craig retiring in the pits unfortunately. R&J leads Delaney in the Drivers' Championship by 9 points. Wojtek the closest driver behind despite his recent form with 3 podiums, 2 of those which were wins. Still in 5th position, still in with a chance of the title, and we do have yellow flags in sector 2. Does look as if that might have actually been Delaney and Mr. Steen in the Red Bull coming together. We'll jump on board and see what's going on just that little bit further back. In fact, Craig leaving the session, Delaney still all over the back of Mr. Steen. Luke Bailey's now pitted from those mediums, finds himself jumping down behind that chain and onto a fresh set of softs for the rest of this race.
Yeah, so Luke finally pitted there for the soft, and he'll definitely be looking to, at least if he won't be able to get any points, definitely be looking to get the fastest lap, as yeah, the only guy yet to pit is Gareth, as he actually looked to be in a very tough fight there with Hailstone, just going side by side but after turn 2 and into turn 3, and yeah, Gareth just sticking his car exactly where he should, and nowhere for Hailstone really to go, and yeah, very close battle there, and Hailstone just still going right up Gareth's gearbox there, just only splitting them by 2 or 3 tenths each corner, and yeah, Gareth will definitely be looking to either pit this lap, or I'm not sure if he wants to fight this battle, or if he just wants to pit and avoid losing those couple of tenths, even seconds battling with Hailstone at the moment.
Well, it looks as if the racing points have actually got their hands occupied with each other. Lipinski not listing the team orders, he's all over the back, his teammate, and that's kind of letting Gareth get away up the road for another straight. We do have Simon Palmer and Matty now trading positions down for the final points playing position. Matty's trying to hang it with Simon. Simon been on those tyres for 10 laps now, the same as Matty on those hards. But Humberstone now closing up to the back of the front 2. Doing very well in that Williams, lead Williams despite Mr. Steen starting in pole, away down in 14th position now, and yep, Gareth now peels into the pits as well as Simon Palmer.
Yeah, so Gareth will be coming out that those couple of seconds behind Luke Bailey, as they had a tiny bit of a gap, and Luke Bailey there actually looked to be challenging Matty into turn 2 as we have a retirement. Mr. Steen retired, so up pole sitter actually retiring from the race there, so yeah, very unfortunate what happened to him with a couple of situation with a bit of contact, and yeah, just very unlucky for Mr. Steen there, who also lost out quite a bit behind the safety car, so yeah, very weird and unfortunate race for Mr. Steen as he retires yet again, and yeah, must be disappointed after sitting on pole and then see his name all the way at the bottom after not finishing the race.
Humberstone with a hot poker up his gearbox in the shape and colour of a bright red Ferrari. Urging him on, saying, Mr. Humberstone, get the move done on R&J or I am coming for you. Itching at the bit to get up alongside his teammate, who currently leads the race by 4.7 seconds. So it does look as if Mr. Steens-Williams has unfortunately made it back out onto the track, but has been cleared before a race leader does make it down to turn 2 and 3. Wojtek still chasing down Humberstone as Humberstone chases down Aaron. It's certainly all to play for the final podium positions here this evening, Jakob, as 2 racing points are going to be the next 2 cars closest together. Lipinski still staring at the back of Hillstone as Luke Bailey picks up the fastest lap of the race, a 1:35 down in 9th position. It'll be interesting to see if he can catch up to the pack in front, who are all on much older and harder tyres.
Yeah, so Luke Bailey coming in with a very late charge there on the soft tyre, as well as Gareth and Simon, who also pitted that lap, same lap as Gareth. I'm not sure why he pitted. He looked to be having no damage and was doing quite well actually to stay in the points with all his struggles throughout the race. But regardless of that, he pitted, and he's got quite a good way up to the points. But kind of a split between, well, all the way from 8th down to 15th, very split between them, and then within the top 8 we have pretty much one train, but otherwise Kesa is keeping Aaron occupied with his delta, and just kind of squeezing that 1/10 for a couple of hundredths each lap, and then just keeping on building that gap up. And then I'm not going to spoil anything or whatever, but this will allow Kesa, if he is unfortunate, to get that 3-second penalty if he keeps on doing this. And as I just having a look at it looks like Aaron has a penalty, and Kesa is penalty free so far. So definitely looking very good for Kesa for the win tonight, and he's definitely missed out feeling, as he had a couple of unfortunate DNFs lately, and is doing very well tonight.
And funny you should actually mention or think about jinxing the Ferraris, Jacob. We do have Jason in the chat here in the nick of time to go ahead and do that for us, as he has done in previous weeks. Ferrari's running in prime position for potential double podium. As we said, Wojtek still all over the back of Humberstone. Aaron looking to extend the Drivers' Championship, but if Ferraris can stay where they are or progress, it would certainly extend their Constructors' lead, as the closest battle is with AlphaTauri, who find Nick J. Thompson down in 8th, so still scoring points. Aaron up in 2nd, but it would certainly be Ferrari that came off best in that battle tonight, with only two rounds left to go in the championship.
Yeah, the Ferrari have just definitely more so recently. They've never really been struggling, but they have had a couple of off days, and they have had one or two races where they haven't scored really that many points. And I remember they had a double DNF at one track, so definitely nice to see them fighting back and being on top of the Constructors' Championship, and then seeing both of them regularly at the top of both the timesheet and the race result. So the Ferraris definitely have impressed me throughout the season as very big contenders for the championship.
Aaron driving exceptionally well here this evening. What I think, whether he's doing it intentionally or not, he's letting Humberstone hang on to the DRS by the scruff of his neck every straight on every lap to ensure that he keeps the quick-paced Wojtek behind. Certainly hanging around that 9/10 mark, whether it's on purpose or not. It looks as if he might have shaked him for this straight, and all that's going to do is make Humberstone vulnerable to a charging Wojtek with plenty of battery and an open rear wing. As the Ferrari's going to make his first charge without the Williams in front having DRS. Let's see if he can get the move done here, if he's going to have to wait for another straight. Didn't even think about it. Slots in behind for the remainder of sector 2 and 3 as Humberstone will attempt to close up, try and get back into that DRS to defend once more from the Ferrari behind. The gap's 1.2 seconds. Doesn't look as if he's going to get there by the detection zone. Apologies guys, there's not much else going on track other than Lipinski chasing down his teammate, but certainly looks as if Wojtek, if he gets a good run, as he gets a bit squirmy out of turn 18 there, but 410 separates it. He's certainly within shooting range. Humberstone already trying to break the toe, but there's absolutely nothing that he's going to do, something that we haven't seen much of this season. And the actual Formula 1 is a Ferrari with some straight line speed.
Yeah, so yeah, very unusual there to see a Ferrari that fast on the straight, at least for this year, and yeah, nothing for Humberstone to do there. So yeah, it wasn't even a battle there, as Wojtek both had the ERS and the DRS advantage, and yeah, then Wojtek up into the podium position and charging down RNJ, just being 1.2 seconds apart, but yeah, now he's also got to worry about Humberstone, who's within his DRS, and yeah, Wojtek not being in someone's DRS at the moment.
Gareth on a much fresher set of tyres than Matty in that McLaren, as well as a softer compound. Looks as if it's going to be the next battle on track, as Gareth could... Oh, getting a little bit late on the brakes there, as yet an unusual pass in place in sector 2. He's well alongside to warrant plenty of space. He's going to show Matty the door as he squeezes through, and Luke Bailey cuts that gap down to 4 seconds back from Nick J. Thompson, whereas it started at 8 4 laps ago.
Yeah, so the soft tyre definitely being the quicker tyre, and yeah, it will be for the rest of the race, as the hard tyre is very old at this point, and the medium as well. The medium running not at the end of its life cycle, but yeah, in 1 or 2 laps they'll definitely start to feel the medium tyre struggling a bit, and yeah, maybe not be as fast as it was yeah, a couple of laps earlier. So yeah, this will definitely be motivating Lipinski to get past his teammate, who is, as I mentioned, on those medium tyre, and the hard tyre probably towards in a couple of laps here will just be those slightly couple of hundredths quicker, and yeah, definitely will put the likes of Lipinski and Nick J. Thompson in a good fight towards beating Hailstone, and maybe even Steel B, who's actually doing very well tonight, being in 5th position. We haven't really mentioned him, as he was a round 1 winner at France, and since then he hasn't scored a point. So very nice to see him up there as well, fighting in a respectable P5 there. So yeah, nice
maybe
to see
just a tad too far back to take advantage of that time penalty that the Humberstone has just picked up. Unfortunately, it could be crucial in his battle for a podium position here this evening, but a little bit further back, Nick J. Thompson still chasing down that Lipinski. Lipinski going to think about a move on his teammate, thinks better of it. It holds Nick J. Thompson behind for at least another couple of corners. Very unorthodox lines there, as Luke Bailey's now exploiting these guys having a bit of a battle ahead. Gap now down to 2.5 seconds, so Man and Alfa Romeo looking to claw out some extra points playing positions here.
Yeah, and it will be very crucial for Luke Bailey to get on the claws of and the back of Nick J. Thompson as soon as possible, pretty much, because if he manages to do that, well, then both Nick J. Thompson and Lipinski and Hailstone, he'll be in the battle for even as much as P6. So still lots of points to play for Luke Bailey, who was very brave to stay out ahead of that safety car, but yeah, brave strategy, and yeah, maybe it will play off at the end of the day. So very interesting to see where Luke Bailey will end up.
Scott Buckner joins the chat on YouTube. Previous PS4 F1 no assists Drivers' Championship winner, saying that he thinks R&J will secure the Drivers' Championship, although he can't secure it tonight, Scott, as we still do have 2 rounds after this to go, with unfortunate PlayStation Network complications when we were expected to run Spa. Spa will be the last race of the season 1 week after the remainder of Invictus Racing League finishes here next week. So still all to play for Drivers' Championship and Constructors' Championship. Can't be decided here tonight, but it can certainly be extended as Aaron looks to do so, and likewise Ferrari look to extend the Constructors.
Yeah, and therefore are already pretty much way ahead of the of second place being AlphaTauri in the constructors, 13th point clear, and then another 16 points down to Red Bull and in third in the constructors. So the Ferrari definitely look like the favourites for that title, and yeah, as it already looks today, we have 2 Ferraris on the podium as it looks so far. So definitely not disappointing so far.
Lipinski's finally, Lipinski's finally made the move on his teammate for P6, but it's immediately invited Nick J. Thompson up the inside of turn 3. Finds himself slotted right between the 2 pink cars. There's a bit of wheel banging there between himself and the Hailstone. Can Nick hang it round outside? Lipinski positioning his car perfectly to make sure that he assists his teammate, picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, and Nick and the Hailstone still continue to go side by side. 2 corners, Nick J. Thompson's ran wide now. Be surprised if that isn't at least a warning apiece. The Hailstone slots in front for the time being, with Luke Bailey now well within the grasp of more points playing positions with only 3 laps to go, or 2.5 laps to go.
Yeah, Luke Bailey actually almost hitting the back there of Nick J into turn 7, as he had to, just slam on the brakes and lock the front tyres, as they were going side by side, and now Nick J. Thompson looks to be having the better straight line speed than Hailstone, going around the outside, but Hailstone still having the inside, and then
yellow
going
flags
into the inside for Nick J. Thompson, and Nick J. Thompson ahead, and Luke Bailey as well ahead of Hailstone. So Hailstone got passed by 2 cars into 2 corners there. So Hailstone now was in P6, and then his teammate got by, and then later on around that lap both Nick J. Thompson and Luke Bailey got by. So Hailstone there losing out 3 places around half a lap. So
apologies, I did have it on screen, Jacob, but I got caught mini-mat watching as the yellow flag signalled in sector 2. It looked as if Reshka and Simon Palmer potentially got a bit tangled up in sector 2 as well. Luke Bailey's now lost it completely out of turn 2, gets on the curb as he's chasing down Nick J. Thompson, and yet full front wing now for Luke Bailey on lap 26. It's going to be a very unfortunate finish to yet another Alfa Romeo's night.
Yeah, so Luke Bailey probably won't get any points, but will just try to bring it home, and then maybe see if lucky he'll score a point. I don't think he will, as I don't think he has any front wing left. No front wing, completely lost it. So very unfortunate for Luke Bailey, who was putting on a show and a late charge there. So looked to be getting some great couple of points, but now all the way out of the points already. So definitely not what you want to see, but these things happen from time to time.
Was looking like a great drive from outside of the top 10. Everybody's starting to feel the wrath, as we've actually got a couple of drivers who are going to complete the race this evening with 20 laps on a set of medium tyres, so they'll be pretty worn come the end from Humberstone and Steele. It's Nick J. Thompson still hanging it all over the back of Lipinski. We'll see if Nick can do anything about pulling through that one more position to keep himself and his teammate R&J in the constructors fight. Keza 4.2 adrift now. All he needs to do is bring it home. Penalties potentially coming into play here tonight, Jacob. It does look as if a front 3 could potentially stay a front 3 unless fourth has anything to say about it from the Humberstone. It's Luke Bailey, I think, deciding that enough's enough. Yep, peeling into the pit lane, 5-second penalty for his troubles and retiring.
Yeah, so that's one less car to be classified at the end there, and now looks to be having a great fight there between Matty and Simon Palmer just getting the better exit there and on way better tyres out of turn 2, and then Simon into P11, still outside the points, but maybe he can be lucky, as it may be a penalty situation will somehow get him into the points.
Well, we have Keza round in the final few corners. It's not much coverage tonight, unfortunately, for the man in the Ferrari, but if I'm being honest, I don't think you'll care. Flawless drive from Keza, who'll come across the line sideways and take P1 at the Russian Grand Prix. Aaron will come across the line in P2. Wojtek P3 for now. Humberstone will slot in P4, and that is going to round it for you. Top 4 this evening, guys. Steel B locking up into turn 17 with Lipinski hot on his heels. See if he can stay here in P5. And wow, Steel B's going to drop right down the order with plenty of time penalties. It's going to be 5th and 6th for the 2 racing points. Gareth going to come around the final corner, and with the penalties with Steel B might even take that from him. And Nick J Thompson falling back down, so lots of penalties from some of the runners here this evening. Simon Palmer going to come across the line, take P11, Matty P12, and a couple of very, very unfortunate entanglements from Reshka, P13, and Sheepy. First race on no assists. Did well to bring it home. Jakob, his lovely lock up there into turn 17, but did better than a few. Managed 27 laps around Sochi despite how many front wings it did cost them, but great drive from the Ferraris here, who do extend constructors considerably. Nick J Thompson falling down as Gareth Hall picks up driver of the day despite having man flu. And there we have it, double Ferrari podium. Nice trophy here in Sochi with an Alpha Tauri and a Pierre Gasly look-alike. And here are your race classifications, guys. So Keza, back on form after a couple of unfortunate weeks, takes home the victory from the second row of the grid, with our Drivers' Championship leader taking second. Wojtek continuing the form. P3 jumps back up onto the podium for the 4th consecutive race. It's Humberstone in P4, the Hailstone P5, Lipensky P6, Gareth P7, Nick P8, Steel B P9. Unfortunately that will be a DNF, so it'll be Delaney with Simon Palmer picking up the fastest lap and 10th position, with Matty, Reshka, Sheepy, Luke Bailey unfortunately DNFing from the race, the same as Mr Steen, Craig and Beck 9000 early on. So if you bear with us, guys, we'll just get the podium runners into the commentary box for the post-race interviews. But yep, no surprises here tonight. Separating the men's from the boys. Straightforward strategy, although we did have that safety car forcing the drivers to pit a little bit earlier than they ideally would have liked to. But there's no curse here tonight for the boys in the Ferrari. Both of them slot themselves into a podium position. R&J also stays on form and extends that Drivers' Championship lead, with Delaney only picking up a couple of points here this evening. Just wait for confirmation that we have all drivers are in the commentary booth. So if you don't mind, guys, just before we do start with interviews, if you double check to make sure that your voice is set to always allow through the party settings, and your voice is set to always share. If you don't know how to do it, push a share button, go down to sharing audio and broadcast settings. Just make sure you've got all your boxes ticked. I'll give you a couple of seconds to get sorted. First driver, we will turn our attention to Keza in the Ferrari. How you doing, buddy? All right?
Very, very happy about that. After 2 DNFs.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's been an up and down season, buddy. I mean, that's what, your second win of the season, 4th podium, after a couple of rotten results through in Hungary and Baku. You certainly bounced back in style and climbed up the standings a little bit as well, with Eshka not having the greatest of races tonight. But how do you feel your race went as a whole, from the second row?
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything better, really. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really want pole with where the long straight is up to turn 2. If you get pole, you majority of the time you lose it anyway. But I mean, Steen didn't lose it because I tried to cover off Simon. But other than that, yeah, I pretty much went perfect. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, because you had you got quite well off to start, and then you had a couple of laps where you were fighting Mr. Steen, and then you overtook him, and then Mr. Steen tried to get you back just before the safety car. Can you take us through that battle? And then I'm not sure if Ryan picked it up on stream, but somehow Mr. Steen completely lost out after that safety car incident. So I'm not sure if you picked up what happened.
Yeah, I didn't realise what happened. I thought, I didn't realise until after the safety car ended and he wasn't behind us. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it was a good battle. I just tried to keep my distance, but not try and get too close. And then I think I probably made a bad move going onto the back straight, as he probably could have got us back on the main straight. But yeah, I'm glad I got the win. And for it to be my last race as well of the season, I couldn't really ask a better way to end it, to be honest. But during the safety car, I was a bit worried. I thought everyone was going to the mediums, and obviously the mediums are a lot faster than the hards. It takes a while to warm them up, but I'm very glad everyone went onto the hards like I did. But yeah, had a very good race, probably the best race of the season I've had.
Yeah, pace was exceptional, mate. Genuinely, broke out the front, didn't get much screen time on stream. The gap was always over that 4 second after the safety car restart, so a pretty flawless drive there from the second row, and one final thing to pick up on, and I think genuinely something to be very proud of, penalty free around Russia.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I haven't had penalties all season, so it's a pretty good achievement.
Yeah, to make it penalty free around Russia is certainly an achievement in its own, mate. So congratulations again for victory here in Sochi. We'll jump on to the next two drivers. You're welcome to stick around if you like, but attention will turn to the man on form, R&J, leading the Drivers' Championship and extending. How do you feel after that one?
Quite happy, to be honest. I just thought I wanted to keep it clean. I'm quite happy I only got one penalty because I was expecting 2 or 3, but it turned out to be quite a fun race.
Yeah, and then you got I believe you started 5th or 6th, if I'm not mistaken, and you got off to quite a good start, and then after the safety car came in, you sort of got back in the race, and then had a pretty long fight with Humbestone, I believe, and Wojtek just behind as well. If you can try to take it through that great battle there.
That was really tough. I was surprised I managed to keep Humberstone behind, to be fair, because at one point his mediums, he caught up so quickly, but I kept getting a good exit out the last corner, hitting the overtake at the right time, and he never really got alongside me. And I was just happy to finish where I did, to be honest.
As we said, Aaron, that is a pretty decent expansion and extension of the Drivers' Championship for you in the lead. The battle is still going on for constructors. Are you solely focused on the Drivers' Championship, or do you still feel that you and Nick can hunt down the Ferraris?
It's going to be tough, but getting a little bit lucky because Kez obviously is not here for the next 2 races, so that's one of them down. So hopefully me and Nick can capitalise. But I think it'll go down to the last race, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
Well, congratulations again, mate. It's good to see you back in the commentary booth. I think that's what your 6th podium of the season as well, so you're certainly enjoying yourself out there.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
We'll turn our attention now to another man on incredible form. No jinx here tonight for either of you in the Ferrari guys. It's Wojtek P3. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Hey, yeah, really good, buddy. I think the curse is gone.
You might want to have a word with Jason in the YouTube comments then, because he jumps in about halfway through every race coming in to curse the two of you. So, no, but well done to bring it home. Like we say, that's fourth consecutive podium. That's the best run of anybody so far this season for PS4 F3, and that's actually off the back of missing 2 races yourself. So, I mean, do you think if it wasn't for you missing 2 races mid-season, and from what we're hearing as well, Keza missing 2 towards the end, do you still think you're in with a big chance of winning constructors? Or
Interesting question though. Probably if I didn't miss those two, it could be different. But we need to think about that. One of them was Monaco, which is pretty harsh for me. But yeah, it could be different. But I'm still really, really happy to be the leading team in the constructors because. I think Aaron has pretty good form and will defend the championship title, I believe so. We have 2 races, but still. But the important thing for me is the team results. So, and I'm really happy about our whole season. Sorry, can't find right words.
Yeah, you just sound so excited for what is that your 4th podium in a row, Wojtek there. So well done, and as you mentioned there with your teammate, like how are you? Are you working together, talking in a party, or how are you finding things with your teammate?
Yeah, we always trying to at least discuss the strategy, just to discuss the where each driver will pit, and this stuff, which obviously can help us in the race. Last time in Baku, we were trying to do the, let's say, drag thing, but obviously I was unable to make it work. But yeah, we're trying to.
Yeah, and that's definitely visible as you are leading the constructors by quite 15 points, or even more now, I believe. So yeah, very well done to both of you, and yeah, congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the last thing I will sum up my my today's race is the podium for my birthday. What else can be?
Well, happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Birthday present for you is actually second in the Drivers' Championship, as Delan only scored a couple of points. That puts you up onto 76, and the closest man to chase down R&J. So just to finish up for us, Wojtek, do you think that's a challenge that you're looking to accept with 2 rounds to go? Do you think you can catch him?
I don't think so. He's on incredible form. Really, really hard to catch, even in a race, even during the whole season. But like I said last time, I'm pretty happy with the second place. And if we win the constructors, I will be more than happy. So yeah.
Well, thanks again to all 3 of you, and congratulations on your podium. Big happy birthday to Wojtek. We're about to wrap up. Jakob, have you anything to add before we do so?
Yeah, congrats on the podium, and yeah, you 3 guys, we're kind of getting used to hear your voices throughout the season, and yeah, well done on the podium, and the win took us there. Well done and well deserved.
Congratulations, guys.
And that's going to wrap us up for this evening, guys. So bear in mind to tune in to tomorrow's stream at 8 PM on the YouTube channel with Malc and Tim for PS4 Performance League. The final round here at Sochi in Russia. And then next week, starting from Sunday without live coverage, we go to Vietnam. It's the Hanoi Street Circuit. So streams will commence from Monday on the YouTube channel with PS4 as always. And yeah, that is the final round of the season for the majority of Invictus Racing League, with PS4 F3 and F4 taking to Spa-Francorchamps, Belgium, a week later to see out our season. So that's going to do it for this evening, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.